Hello. Today I'm going to try to make some persimmon jelly, jam, preserves, whatever you want to call it. The last time we got persimmons, we tried to push them through a colander raw. I tell you, that doesn't work. So what I'm doing is boiling these down, getting them really good and loose so that the seeds and skins will separate more easily. This will make just a small batch. I didn't have very many. Maybe 2 or 3 cups. So this is only going to make probably about 3 jars, maybe 4. Depends on, well, a lot of things. But anyway, I thought I'd show you and take you along with the process that I'm doing this, and we'll see if it works or not. Okay, I've cooked these persimmons about 20 minutes. This is the same method I used for making beautyberry jelly. So what I'm going to do now is run them through this colander. These are wild persimmons. They're very tiny and full of giant seeds. And these were fallen fruit. We haven't had a frost yet. Usually with wild persimmons, you need a frost to get them really sweet and ripe. But these were well ripened on the tree. So now I'm just going to press them through as much as possible. Let's see how much I get from them. They're a little difficult to work with because of these big seeds, because they're wild and they're tiny. But I'm going to do what I can do. I'm hoping to get about 3 cups of the liquid with a little bit of pulp in it. I'm not going to sweat it if I don't get all the pulp out. But you can see how big these seeds are in the fruit. And the fruit is only about as big as a quarter. And it's got 4 or 5 of these big seeds in it. This will get the skin off of them. I washed them really well twice. I had one sink that had cold water with vinegar in it. Vinegar, when you're washing your fruits and vegetables, helps remove a lot of dirt and insect frass. Frass is poop. Anyway. So I'm going to let them stay like this. Completely drip out. I don't have a bag, a jelly bag to put them through. So they're going to drip out in that, and then I will bring you back for the next step. Okay, I wound up with 2 and about 3/4 cup of the juice with a small amount of pulp in it. So I added enough to make this be, excuse me, to make this be 3 cups in the pan. I've got 3.5 cups of sugar here. Got my box of Sure Gel. I've got lemon juice because these were extremely ripe. So I'm going to put a 1/3 cup of lemon juice in there. Really super ripe fruits are much lower in acid, so I want to make sure that to bump the acid up. This is not a tested recipe, y'all. This is just what I'm making here in my home, and thinking that it should work out because it follows the principles of jelly making. So it'll have plenty of sugar, it'll have lemon juice, Sure Gel. I've got my tools here, my phone, my bowl to set my jars in. My jars are over here in the counter. It's kind of a mix up of there's a pint and a wide mouth half pint and a couple of regular half pints and then a couple of quarter pints. Just whatever I could find around. So, let me get my lemon juice measured. I'm going to put that straight in with the persimmon juice. I always use bottled lemon juice. Bottled lemon juice has a consistent acidity. It's always 10% acidity. So you don't have to worry about, because with real, honest to goodness lemons, fresh ones, the acidity may not be consistent. So let me move you over here where maybe you can see a little better. I don't know. well. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put my sugar gel in. When you're doing jam and jelly, always go ahead and have your sugar measured first before you do anything else. Turn the heat on. I'm going to bring this to a boil while I'm stirring it. I want to get that sugar gel mixed in really well. So I'll bring you back when I bring it to a boil and I get ready to put the sugar in. Okay. It's at a full boil, a full rolling boil that cannot be stirred down. So now I'm going to add my sugar. You add your sugar all at once. I'm going to stir that in. And now I'm going to keep stirring, and when it reaches a full rolling boil again, a boil that cannot be stirred down. I'm sure you've all had experience with cooking, and when you cook something and it's boiling, if you stir it, it collapses back down again. But with jam and jelly, the sugar helps support the rolling boil. It actually will get up where water boils at 212 degrees at my elevation. A sugar mix like this will boil at up to 220 degrees. So, and that's what you want. The sugar just gets hotter than plain water does. Looks like I've got a couple of sugar lumps in there. Anyway, I'm going to continue stirring it until it reaches that full rolling boil. Okay, it's beginning to boil. And it's continuing to boil as I stir it, so I'm going to set my timer that's on my phone for 2 minutes. Normally, most jellies call for 1 minute. But I have found that a 2-minute boil gives me a better assurance of it setting up. I also want to add that I put in a half a teaspoon of butter, just 1/2 teaspoon. That helps to prevent some of the foaming, so that when I get ready to skim the foam off, it's not as much. That foam is a lot of wasted food. I don't put the foam in the jars, and I'll tell you why. It's not only unattractive, but after you get it in the jars and you bring it up to your 1/4-inch headspace and then you process it, if that foam breaks down, you actually don't have a 1/4-inch headspace. You may have a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, or an inch, because the foam is full of air bubbles. So I don't want that in there. I want my headspace on my jam and jelly to be exactly where it's supposed to be. Bring you back when I get ready to put it in the jars. Okay. Here's my ladle that I'm going to use. I didn't use the other ladle because it had a lot of the fruit debris on it. Start out with these 1/2 pint jars. I've had them in my steam canner getting hot. It's very syrupy. I hope it turns to jelly or jam or whatever you want to call it. If it doesn't, then we'll have persimmon syrup and we'll be just fine with that. I never go back and remake jams and jellies. I just don't. A little bit more to get it up to the 1/4-inch headspace. Still not quite there. That ought to do it. Excuse me, I'm going to get this over here so I can set my funnel in it. Okay, wipe the rim of the jar really well. A clean lid and a clean ring. That's all it gets. Okay, I'll fill one more jar for you. I'm not going to make very many jars, but it was free fruit and not a huge amount of sugar. The sugar gel was the most expensive part of it. Because they run $3.50 a pack sometimes. Alright, sorry about my arm. I always forget that's what you're seeing. It's my elbows. I did that wrong. There. Put it in here. I want to show you the amount of foam that came off. I've seen more, but I've seen less sometimes too. When that gets cool, if it's gelled up, then I'll know that the whole batch will be fine. Okay, I'll bring you right back. Okay, I've got all the jars in my steam canner. I'm going to put the top on. Then I'm going to watch this dial on the front. Let me get a light turned on, maybe you can see it better. Reaching out there. Alright. So I'm going to wait for this to go up to here. When it gets all the way around up to here, that's when I'll start my time, and I'm going to do these jars for 10 minutes. Boiling really well. There's steam coming out of this vent, but it has not reached where I want it to reach yet. So don't let this steam fool you if you've got one of these. Always look at the temperature indicator and the knob. Okay. The indicator has reached that green zone. We're up to temperature. So now I'm going to start my timer. Okay. Ready to take them out of the canner. I moved it over here. Let it cool down 5 minutes before I'm taking these out of the canner. Listen to them popping. I love this thing. So here we go. It's 2 half pints of persimmon jelly. You can see it's boiling in the jars. 2 1/4 pints. And a wide mouth half pint. And it's not much, but you know, it cost me maybe $3 to make it, so we'll enjoy it. Thanks for watching.